On August 12th, 2024, Thierry Breton of the European Commission, which is the executive branch of the European Union, sends a letter to Elon Musk. And I just want to read the first sentence, because I think this captures what we're talking about, what this hearing is about. It says, "Dear Mr. Musk, I am writing to you in the context of recent events in the United Kingdom and in relation to the planned broadcast on your platform X of a live conversation between a U.S. presidential candidate and yourself, which will also be accessible to users in the EU." So we've highlighted this first sentence. And I think this first sentence kind of captures it all. Here's someone from the European Commission, the executive branch of the European government, writing an American citizen about an American company and about the American presidential election. And he said the catalyst, the context, the reason he's doing that are events that are happening in a different country, the United Kingdom, not even a member of the European Commission, about an interview that's going to take place between Mr. Musk and the American presidential candidate. So, to America, also not part of the EU, about events happening in the UK, not part of the EU, but this individual thinks that they're going to regulate the speech and are concerned about what may take place in this interview. That's the context for all of this. We called this out. We called it what it was: censorship and election interference. The European Commission said, don't worry, Mr. Breton acted alone. Really? We didn't think Mr. Breton acted alone at all. He was just foolish enough to say the quiet part out loud. A year ago, this committee started issuing subpoenas to tech companies, big and small. We asked them to give us your communications with foreign officials regarding censorship. The production started rolling in. The European Commission successfully pressured social media companies to change their global content moderation rules, directly harming the speech of Americans in the United States. This hearing is not about whether European governments can censor their citizens. They do it. It's wrong. We know that. But this hearing is about, we disagree with that, but this hearing is about whether American speech in the United States is being silenced by regulators across the pond in Brussels. And the truth is, that's happening. Just look at these documents from TikTok. This is the Community Guidelines Survey. If we can put that one up too. I just want to read the highlight. The primary motivation for the next round of community guidelines updates is to achieve compliance with the Digital Services Act. So here again, Europe's trying to influence speech and everything around the world. And what did TikTok censor in the US to placate the Europeans? Let's go to the next document. I think this censored, quote, marginalized speech and behavior, media presented out of context. I think that happens every single day, and probably in this committee. We're always putting unanimous consents about this media, that one. They'll enter from something from the New York Times, we'll enter something from Fox or something like that. That happens all the time. TikTok censored true information and political speech on topics like immigration in the United States because of European censorship demands. But it gets worse. It's not just the European Commission is regulating the content moderation guidelines. Often they directly ask platforms, how are they handling US speech? In 2024, the Vice President of the European Commission, Vera Jourova, traveled all the way to California to meet with TikTok to discuss U.S. election preparations. Now, why on earth would the EU, let's put this one up too, why on earth would the EU travel to California to talk about U.S. elections? Is the Vice President, Ms. Jourova, is she interested in discussing both EU and U.S. election preparations, or to stay mostly focused on the EU? Her response: we're interested in both. I mean, that to me is just unbelievable. But again, this is where the Digital Services Act is taking us. The answer is obvious. The European Commission is trying to censor speech and meddle in elections worldwide. Now the Europeans try to hide what they're doing. They say that these censorship requirements are voluntary and achieved through consensus. But we don't think that's true either. When the European Commission makes censorship demands, platforms have to listen. Platforms set it themselves in internal emails that we also got with our subpoenas. Let's put this one up too, because I think this again captures it as well. Let's put the next one up there too. Following one, there we go. Yeah, let's just look at the bottom one. The European Commission is opening the Gen AI subgroup under the code of practice. I assume we want to join, and of course, then comes the truth. We don't really have a choice. We don't really have a choice. Europeans try to hide what they're doing. They say that these censorship requirements are voluntary, but they're not, they're and achieved through consensus, but we know that's not true, as I said, and platforms have said it in this document. Finally, I just want to say today we have some victims of European censorship. Ms. Rasanen, a doctor, devout Christian and grandmother of 12. She tweeted out a Bible verse and is on trial under Finland's hate speech law. And that's the kind of censorship Europeans want worldwide. Mr. Linehan, I'm sure the left is going to be especially mad at you because you used to be one of them. We had a similar witness. We had a similar witness a couple years ago. Matt Taibbi was part of the Twitter files and exposing what was going on there. He was and probably still is left of center, but he stood for free speech, sat right where you guys are sitting. And here's what happened to him. Democrats called him a so-called journalist. They asked him to divulge his sources in the middle of that hearing. After the hearing, they tried to criminally refer Mr. Taibbi. And here's the kicker. During the hearing, while he's sitting there testifying, the IRS was actually at his home knocking on his door while he was testifying. You talk about intimidation. While he was testifying to Congress, the Biden administration had the IRS make a friendly visit to his home. So we appreciate you being here as well. I don't think that's going to happen today because we have different folks in the White House.